A stone explodes in a puff of dark smoke as villagers scream, and a girl drops to her knees, wailing, "It was me. I killed him." In the stillness that blankets River's Hollow before dawn, a thin mist climbs from the riverbed and curls around the thatched roofs of simple clay homes. Crickets sing their morning song, but above their gentle chorus, a single, sharp voice rings out. "I told you, Ivy, you're too soft." Ella snaps. Her arms cross over her chest as she stands by the low wooden fence. The morning light glints off her necklace of carved bone beads, a token of her leadership in the village youth council. Her dark eyes flash with anger and exhaustion. Ivy doesn't answer right away. She brushes a strand of hair from her face and looks at the rising sun. "Soft," she says quietly, "is what you call kindness." Her voice is gentle but holds a steady edge, like water eroding stone. "You call me soft because I still remember baby Liam." Ella's shoulders stiffen. "You shouldn't use his name against me," she says, voice hard. "Don't pretend you're the only one who mourns." Ivy's lips tremble and then tighten. "I don't pretend," she replies. "You act like you forgot him the moment you left the shrine that night." Ella's fists clench. "I did what I had to," she says, stepping close. "Father needed me to." "Father?" Ivy throws her arms wide, voice rising. "You care about Father when he collapses, but what about the rest of the year? What about me?" Ella's breath catches, but she forces a firm face. "You know I'd do anything for Father," she says. There's a crack in her voice. Anything to keep River's Hollow safe. Ivy turns away, her shoulders shaking. She whispers to herself, but Ella hears. "At what cost?" Both sisters stand in silence as a distant rooster crows. The mist begins to lift, and villagers emerge onto the dirt paths. Women carrying water pots. Children running barefoot to chase chickens. The sound of life stirring. But Ella and Ivy do not move closer. They will not share a path today. A few hours later, a commotion erupts in the village center. Chief Daniel, their father, has fallen during the midday gathering. His body limp, his breath shallow. An old man, respected by all, has always seemed invincible. Now he lies on woven mats while neighbors gather around, panic in their eyes. "Someone send for Adora." "Now!" shouts one of the elders. Ella pushes through the crowd, her heart pounding. Ivy follows more slowly, head bowed. When Seer Adora arrives, she moves with surprising speed for a woman so old. Half blind in one eye, she leans on a staff carved with strange symbols. Her white hair is bound by a crimson cloth, and her lips are set in a thin line. She kneels beside Chief Daniel, places her hands on his chest, and murmurs a soft chant. The crowd falls silent. At last, she stands and straightens. She looks at the two sisters, Ella's posture rigid, Ivy's quiet sorrowfulness, and says, "This is not illness alone that brings him low. His heart is torn by more than age." Ella's face reddens. "Father's heart is fractured because we are fractured." She spits. Adora's blind eye narrows. "Your feud is old," she says. "It is older than your anger. It is older than grief." She presses a gnarled finger to her lips and gazes out at the gathered villagers. When spirits at home are divided, the body suffers. The land suffers too. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Ivy steps forward. "Seer Adora, what must we do?" The seer's voice is steady, calm as the forest hush at night. She reaches into a fold of her robe and pulls out a smooth black stone, about the size of a small egg, with a single crack glowing red like molten lava. "This spirit stone holds your truth," Adora says, placing it on a low wooden table carved with symbols of birth, death, and rebirth. She motions for Ella and Ivy to approach. "Touch it together and let your heart speak." Ella hesitates. Ivy's eyes widen. The villagers hold their breath. Ella steps forward first. She extends a hand, trembling. When her fingers brush the stone surface, it hums, a low, resonant pulse that echoes in her bones. Ivy, with a shaky breath, does the same. Their fingers meet on the cool surface. In that instant, both feel a surge of memories, bitter and sweet. They feel Liam's laugh echoing through the courtyard. The day their parents taught them to catch fish by hand. The day the sickness took their brother away. They feel anger at each other. Ella's fury that Ivy stayed behind when she ran to fetch help. Ivy's rage that Ella did not wait to comfort him. They feel guilt, grief, sorrow, and love, all swirling together. The red crack in the stone grows brighter, branching outward like veins of fire. The sisters pull back, their eyes wide. If your spirits remain in conflict, Adora warns, her voice low, the stone will shatter. Ivy swallows. What happens if it breaks? Adora's blind eye glints. Then every truth you have hidden will be laid bare. Pain, betrayal, guilt, no mask will hold them back. And the curse of divided sisters will fall on River's Hollow. Ella looks at the stone, her chest heaving. I don't want that, she whispers. Ivy's tears spill over. I don't either. But we... Adora lifts a hand. Enough words. You have until the full moon to mend your spirits, or the stone will test you. The crowd parts to let Ella and Ivy pass. As they walk away, Ella's gaze drops to her hands, and Ivy's eyes remain fixed on the cracked stone. Unspoken truths hang between them like shadows in the forest. That night, under a pale crescent moon, Ivy creeps to the narrow path that leads into the sacred forest. The trees rise so close above her that their branches intertwine, blotting out the sky. In the hush of the undergrowth, she kneels before Liam's grave, a simple mound marked by an old clay pot. I'm sorry, Liam, she whispers, voice breaking. She places a broken piece of clay by the mound. Her mother's cooking pot, shattered when she packed her things after the fight with Ella. This crack, it's like me, barely held together. A soft breeze stirs the leaves. Ivy presses her hand to the earth. Please, help me fix this. She looks up toward the darkness where the shrine lies beyond the forest. Help me fix my sister. Meanwhile, in a small wooden room beside the river, Ella paces restlessly. She cannot sleep. The spirit stone's warning echoes in her mind. She remembers Father's collapsing figure and recalls how Ivy stood aside when Chief Daniel called for help. She moves to a small chest and opens it. Inside are two gifts, one for Ivy, a carved wooden bird, painted in bright colors, the symbol of hope they shared as children, the other for herself, a simple locket in which they place a lock of Liam's hair, once a promise to stay united. Ella picks up the bird and closes her eyes. She remembers the day she gave it to Ivy, the younger sister's delighted laugh, the way Ivy held the bird close. Ella's own vow, forever, no matter what. She wipes her eyes. But I forgot, she says to the empty room. I forgot how to keep promises. At dawn, the sisters meet again before the shrine. Neither wants to be there, but both know they must. The villagers gather in a wide circle, speaking in hushed tones. Chief Daniel, pale but conscious, sits on a wooden stool, supported by two neighbors. Seer Adora stand before them, the spirit stone once more between the sisters. She raises her staff and speaks. River's Hollow is as strong as its people's hearts. O sons and daughters of this land, your bond is your power. Remember who you were, before grief, before anger. Touch the stone again, and let the truth bring healing. Ella and Ivy exchange a glance. There is fear in their eyes, but also something more, a flicker of hope. They place their hands on the stone together once more, and the red crack softens to a dull glow. Ella inhales, voice low but steady. I am sorry I ran away that night. Ivy's breath catches. She meets Ella's gaze. I am sorry I blamed you for everything. A hush falls. The crack in the stone mends itself, the red light fading until the stone is whole and dark once again. Adora smiles, a rare, gentle expression. Your truth is spoken. Go now with new spirits and let the land heal. Chief Daniel rises slowly, placing a hand on each daughter's shoulder. My girls, he says, voice thick, you are my heart. Together, we will carry Liam's memory forward. Together, Ella and Ivy embrace. Tentatively at first, then with all the force of sisters reunited. Behind them, River's Hollow breathes a collective sigh, as if the land itself has found peace. In that moment, as the sun rises high and golden over the sacred forest, the curse of the spirit stone is broken, and a new chapter begins for Ella, Ivy, and their village. Ella and Ivy's childhood home stood at the edge of River's Hollow, its walls painted in faded ochre and its roof woven from thick grass thatched tight against rain. Inside, the air was heavy with memories, some bright, others dark. Flashback. Young Ella, no more than 8, raced across the dusty courtyard, holding a wooden toy cart she had carved herself. Ivy, 2 years younger and eager to prove herself, reached out to touch it. "Don't you dare." Ella snapped. She pushed Ivy's hand away. Ivy's eyes filled with tears. "I just wanted to see it." Ella spun and the cart tipped. Wheels snapped off, splintering on the ground. Ivy gasped. Ella's chest heaved. "I told you to stay away." Ella cried. Their mother, Adora, appeared in the doorway. Tall and graceful, she wore her patient smile. But that day, her smile froze. She surveyed the broken toy. "Ella," she said softly, "why did you do that?" Ella shrugged, head down. Ivy knelt to pick up the pieces. Their mother's voice fell on Ivy. "Be more careful around your sister's things, Ivy. She works hard on them." Ivy looked up at Ella, hurt and confused. Ella simply turned away. Another flashback. A few years later, under the same bright sun, Ivy chased chickens in the courtyard while Ella and their mother harvested yams. "Ella, help me tie this basket," Mother said. She smiled warmly at Ella. Ella beamed and rushed to help. Ivy paused her chase and ran over, but Mother placed a gentle hand on Ivy's shoulder. "Thank you, Ivy, but I need your sister's help today," she said. Ivy's shoulders slumped. She watched Ella work alongside their mother, their laughter echoing through the yard. Ivy picked up a yam and tossed it aside, tears pricking her eyes. Back in the present, Ivy woke before dawn. She sat on the edge of her small cot, staring at the carved wooden bird Ella had given her, the same symbol of hope from their childhood. But the paint was chipped now, and Ivy felt hollow. Ivy whispered to herself, voice trembling, "Maybe Father was right. Maybe I don't belong here." The thought settled in her mind like a dark seed. She dressed quietly, gathering a few belongings, an old cloth, a wooden spoon, and a small bundle of millet. She placed the wooden bird inside the cloth and wrapped it tight. That night, she crept past sleeping neighbors and slipped out of her family's hut. The moonlight guided her as she followed the narrow path toward the forest's edge. "I should leave," she murmured under her breath. "I should be free of this pain." A sudden rustle behind her made her freeze. A pair of glowing eyes blinked in the underbrush. Ivy's heart pounded. It was only a small goat, lost and hungry. Ivy knelt and stroked its head. "It's okay, little one," she whispered. "We're both alone tonight." Back in Ella's room, she jolted awake as something tapped her shoulder. She sat up, heart racing. Her small chest of drawers rattled as if moved by unseen hands. A low, mocking laugh drifted through the darkness. "Ella?" She scrambled out of bed, lantern in hand. The room was empty. The laugh came again, this time closer and softer, like a child's voice calling, "Sister, sister." Terrified, Ella stumbled toward the door. As she passed a small wooden chest holding the spirit stone's pieces, she saw a single fragment glowing faintly red, as if beckoning her. "No," she said, voice shaking. She turned away, but the fragment skittered across the floor, tapping like a drumbeat. Ella backed into the corner. "Stop," she commanded. "I don't want this." The fragment's glow flickered and died. All went silent. Ella's breath came in ragged gasps. The next morning, Ella rose before the sun. She wrapped a cloak around her shoulders and slipped out alone, avoiding the main path. She followed a narrow trail into the sacred forest, her heart pounding with determination. "I have to destroy that stone," she muttered. "It's the only way to end this." At the center of the forest stood the old shrine, stones arranged in a circle, moss creeping over their surfaces. In the middle lay a large, flat altar. Ella's lantern cast long shadows. She knelt and retrieved from her cloak a small hammer, carved with her name. Her hand shook as she placed the hammer's tip against the spirit stone, a dark, smooth ore that thrummed with power. "This ends now," she whispered. She lifted the hammer and brought it down. A sudden flare of red light exploded from the stone. Ella screamed as a wave of heat burned her hand. She dropped the hammer and staggered back, clutching her palm. The stone's surface glowed like molten metal. "Impossible!" she cried, tears of pain and frustration filling her eyes. The stone pulsed, sending waves of energy through the shrine. The trees groaned, their branches swaying without wind. Ella stumbled away, nearly collapsing against a tree trunk. Tears fell down her cheeks. Why won't it break? Why can't I free us from this curse? She pressed her hand to her chest, heart hammering. She felt a surge of guilt. Guilt for running away that night. Guilt for blaming Ivy. Guilt for letting her sister suffer alone. As the sun broke through the treetops, Ella looked back at the shrine. The stone lay untouched, its crack faintly glowing. Ella whispered into the still morning air, "I can't do this alone." That night, Ivy curled under her thin blanket and closed her eyes. The wooden bird lay beside her pillow. Almost at once, she drifted into a dream so vivid it seemed more real than life. She found herself standing in the courtyard of her childhood home. The air was thick with the scent of cooking fires. A small figure toddled toward her. Baby Liam, hair like spun silk, eyes bright. "Ivy," he called in a voice so soft it broke her heart. "Ivy, play with me." Ivy rushed forward, scooping him into her arms. She felt his warm weight against her chest. She smiled and rocked him gently. But as she looked up, the courtyard twisted. The walls cracked, and the thatched roof collapsed. Liam's laughter turned into sobs. He reached out, voice trembling. "Help me, sister." Ivy cried out, "Liam, no!" and tried to run, but her legs would not move. The ground beneath her cracked open, revealing the glowing red fissure of the spirit stone. Liam's face flickered, changing into Ella's face, then their mother's, then Chief Daniel's. Each face wore a look of pain and accusation. They spoke together in whispers. "You abandoned us. You broke our family. You let her suffer." Tears streamed down Ivy's cheeks. She fell to her knees before the stone, pressing her hand against it. Its surface burned with red-hot pain, but she did not pull away. "Please," she cried into the darkness. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." The fissure's glow softened, and in that moment, Ivy felt a warmth spread through her chest. A gentle, forgiving voice, like her mother's, whispered, "Come home, my child." Ivy woke with a gasp, heart pounding. The first light of dawn seeped through the cracks in the mud walls. She sat up, trembling, and looked at the wooden bird on her pillow. "Home," she whispered. "I have to go home." Over the next days, the sisters moved like ghosts, close enough to see each other, but worlds apart. Strange happenings continued. Doors creaked open on their own. At night, soft lullabies drifted through empty huts, and shadowy figures slipped past windows. Villagers spoke in hushed tones. "The spirits are restless. Something stirs in the shrine. A curse is breaking free." Chief Daniel grew weaker. Ivy returned to the shrine at Adora's urging, and Ella tried again to destroy the stone, but each attempt was met with searing pain. Both sisters realized, separately, that they were in over their heads. The spirit stone's power was far greater than they imagined, and so, by the light of a rising full moon, they faced a choice: confront their shared past and unite, or watch River's Hollow fall into darkness. Their next steps would decide not just their fate, but the fate of everyone they loved. Late that afternoon, as the sun dipped toward the horizon, villagers gathered in the open clearing at the heart of River's Hollow. A circle of woven mats lay arranged around the ancient stone altar, now cleared of underbrush and polished smooth. Torches flickered, casting long shadows that danced on the faces of the anxious crowd. Chief Daniel lay reclining on a low wooden bier at the center, eyes closed, breathing shallow. At his head knelt Seer Adora, her staff planted firmly in the packed earth. On either side of the altar stood Ella and Ivy, their hands clasped tightly, knuckles white with tension. Adora lifted her blind eye to the sky. "Tonight, we call upon the spirits of our ancestors to heal the body and the land," she intoned. Her voice was low, but carried clearly through the hush. "Speak your truth, children of River's Hollow, and may the bond of family be restored." She began to chant in a tongue older than memory. The villagers closed their eyes and joined in softly, their voices weaving together like threads of a tapestry. A sudden breeze rustled through the trees, carrying the scent of sage and earth. Ella swallowed hard. Beside her, Ivy's head was bowed so low her hair brushed the dirt. Neither dared meet the other's gaze. The spirit stone, whole again after Act 2, rested on a small wooden pedestal before them, its ebony surface dull beneath the torchlight. As the chanting rose to a crescendo, the cracks in the stone began to glow red. A sharp, resonant crack split the air. Every villager gasped. The altar trembled. Without warning, the spirit stone shattered. Fragments flew outward like shards of dark glass, showering everyone with sparks of red light. A thunderous boom echoed in the trees. Torches flickered wildly, and a wind blasted through the clearing, snuffing out several flames. In the stunned silence that followed, flickers of movement appeared in the air above the altar, shimmering, translucent shapes that coalesced into images of the past. A hush fell over the crowd as ghostly visions began to play out. Ella and Ivy watched, rooted to the spot, as the first scene unfolded. Childhood courtyard, years ago. A younger Ella and Ivy stood before their mother in the same courtyard where they now lived. Between them, a small wooden basin held baby Liam, wrapped in a soft cloth. The sun shone bright, and laughter bubbled in the air, until a sharp cry cut through. Ivy had accidentally brushed Ella's shoulder in play. Ella lurched forward, knocking Ivy off balance. Ivy stumbled into the basin. Water splashed everywhere, and baby Liam toppled out, landing face down in the mud. Tears gushed from his eyes. Mother ran forward with a cry, scooping Liam into her arms. "Liam, my son," she wailed, checking him frantically. Ella's face twisted with anger and fear. She pointed at Ivy, voice shrill. "You did this. You killed him." Ivy gasped, wounded and confused. Mother's eyes flashed from sorrow to accusation. "Ivy," she cried, "how could you be so careless?" Ivy dropped to her knees, hands pressed to the ground. "No, Mother, please." The vision faded, replaced by the stunned expressions of the villagers watching the sisters. A gust of wind tore through the crowd, rattling torches and sending whispers of fear among the onlookers. Chief Daniel stirred, his eyes fluttering open to the dancing lights. Adora's voice rang out above the wind. "The spirits demand truth," she declared. "Let no lie remain hidden." Ella's legs shook. She forced herself to step forward, tears streaming down her cheeks. The villagers parted to let her pass. Ivy watched in silent horror, fear knotting her stomach. Ella fell to her knees before the shattered altar. She pressed both hands to the dirt, head bowed. "Ivy," she whispered, voice cracking. A hush fell. All eyes turned to the younger sister. Ivy clutched at her own skirts, eyes wide, heart pounding. Ella lifted her head. Her face was streaked with mud and tears. "It was me," she cried, voice raw. "I lied." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Ivy's hand flew to her mouth. Chief Daniel sat up, confusion and dread etching his features. "I blamed you for Liam's death," Ella sobbed. "I was scared. I thought if everyone believed it was your fault, they would turn away from me, not see that I was the one who pushed you." She looked out at the villagers, voice rising. "I was afraid you would love me less if they knew the truth. I was so afraid, so afraid." Ivy screamed, a long, shattered sound of shock and relief mingled. She stumbled forward, dropping to her knees beside Ella. "Yes." Ivy sobbed, wrapping her arms around Ella. "I always knew you didn't mean it. I knew you loved him too." The sisters clung to each other as the wind died down. Above them, the last glowing fragment of stone drifted toward the sky and vanished. Chief Daniel rose unsteadily to his feet, supported by two elders. He looked at his daughters, tears in his eyes. "My children," he said, voice thick, "you have braved the spirit's test. You have spoken your truths." He laid a trembling hand on Ella's shoulder. "Ella, my firstborn, your courage is great, but courage without honesty breeds suffering." He turned to Ivy. "Ivy, my gentle one, your strength is in your heart. You held no anger, yet bore unfair blame." Mother Adora stepped forward, baby Liam, now grown, standing beside her. His eyes were calm, but his presence was charged with the spirit world's power. "Daughters," she said quietly, "our family was broken by fear and mistrust. Tonight, your confession has set us free. Ella and Ivy lifted their faces. The first star shone overhead, and torchlight gleamed in the clearing. Sierra Dora rose and raised her staff. The wind stilled completely. Spirits, hear our pledge. From this moment, let love guide our steps and truth be our bond. She touched her staff to the ground. A soft pulse of energy spread outward, rustling leaves in a gentle breeze. The elders joined hands around the circle, and the villagers stood, linking arms. Chief Daniel lowered himself onto the bier, breathing easier now. Ivy helped Ella to her feet. The sisters embraced again, this time without fear. Cheeks pressed together, tears of relief and forgiveness mingling. Ella looked up at Ivy, voice soft. I'm so sorry. Ivy held her sister's face. I forgive you. They turned to their parents. Ella's voice carried hope. We will heal this family. Mother Adora smiled, eyes glistening. And the spirits of Rivers Hollow will heal with you. Above the clearing, the stars shone brighter than before, as if welcoming the truth that had been spoken. And in that moment, under the watchful gaze of ancestors and spirits, Rivers Hollow began its journey back to unity and peace. The night air in Rivers Hollow felt different after the spirit stone's shattering. The wind had stilled, and an unearthly calm settled over clearing. Torches flickered gently, casting soft light on faces that held awe, relief, and lingering sorrow. Chief Daniel sat up on his bier, shoulders heaving with quiet sobs. Ivy and Ella stood arm in arm beside him, their tears mingling as they leaned on each other for support. Around them, villagers exchanged amazed, hopeful looks. A hush spread to the crowd as Chief Daniel drew a ragged breath and spoke. His voice was broken, but clear. My children, he said, you have done what many fear. You faced pain, you spoke truth, and you chose each other over shame. He looked at Ivy. Ivy, my gentle child, you bore blame when it was not yours. Forgive me for not seeing your grief sooner. Ivy's lip trembled. She nodded, voice soft. Father, you have always guided me. I understand now why Ella and I behaved as we did. Grief can blind us. Chief Daniel then turned to Ella. Ella, firstborn, you carried the heaviest guilt. I wish I had held you more closely that day. Ella's shoulders shook as she forced out the words. Father, I'm sorry I pushed Ivy away. I was scared and I hurt her. I hurt us all. A murmur of compassion rose from the villagers. Mothers clutched their children closer. Older men wiped tears from their eyes. The tension that had gripped Rivers Hollow for so long seemed to dissolve in that moment of shared sorrow. As the gathering began to break, Ivy stepped back. She unclasped Ella's hand and took a few hesitant steps away from the altar. The flickering torchlight danced across her face, revealing pain and uncertainty. Ella noticed immediately. Ivy, she called softly. Ivy paused but continued walking toward the edge of the clearing, where palms and tall grass swayed gently. One of the elders, a kindly woman named Mama Fatu, stepped forward. Child, stay, she said, beckoning Ivy back. You belong with your family. Ivy shook her head, voice trembling. I can't stay yet. I need time to think, time to feel that I belong. The villagers watched in silence as Ivy's small figure receded into the shadows beyond the torches. Ella's heart pounded. She could not let Ivy leave again, not now when they were finally free. She raced after her sister, feet pounding on the soft earth. Ivy, she called, voice echoing. Ivy stiffened but did not turn around. Ella caught up breathless. Please, she said, voice urgent. Don't go. Ivy's shoulders shook. She turned slowly, eyes red from crying. Ella, I need space. Her voice cracked. Every time we're together, I remember the pain. Ella closed the distance between them. She took Ivy's hands in hers. I know, Ella whispered, but we'll face it together. You aren't alone anymore. Ivy looked down at their joined hands. After a moment, she let out a soft sigh and raised her eyes to Ella. Promise me, she said. Promise you won't leave again. Ella's tears spilled over. She nodded fiercely. I promise. Ivy's shoulders relaxed, and at last, she stepped into Ella's arms. The sisters clung to each other, weeping softly but with measured relief that only forgiveness can bring. Meanwhile, in the clearing, the villagers felt a shift in the air. A lone nightingale, silent for years over River's Hollow, perched on a low branch nearby and began to sing. Its clear, sweet song echoed through the trees, breaking the long-held silence. Children ventured forward, drawn by the music, and began to dance in a small circle. Mothers smiled and joined hands, swaying gently. The torches burned brighter, as though rekindled by this new hope. Old men and women clapped softly, their faces bright with tears and smiles. Even the stoic hunters in the back wiped their eyes as they watched the transformation unfold. Chief Daniel rose slowly to his feet, steadied by two elders. He raised his arms, calling for quiet. "People of River's Hollow," he began, voice clear and strong. "Tonight, we witnessed more than broken stone. We witnessed healed hearts. Let us carry this truth forward." A cheer rose, timid at first, then growing louder. The villagers responded with united voices, their relief and joy filling the night sky. As the celebration continued, Ella and Ivy walked back toward the altar, still holding each other. The torches lit their path with dancing light. Suddenly, Ella felt a soft flutter against her hand. She looked down and gasped. A delicate blue butterfly, its wings shimmering like polished glass, had landed on her palm. Its gentle wings beat slowly, as though fluttering to some distant rhythm. Ella's tears froze on her cheeks as she met Ivy's astonished gaze. "Ivy," she whispered. "It's Liam." Ivy knelt beside Ella and held out her hand. The butterfly lifted from Ella's palm and drifted toward Ivy, landing lightly on her fingertips. Ivy's face softened, and she closed her eyes. "It's him," Ivy said, voice trembling. "He's telling us he's at peace." The sisters sat together on the earth, butterfly wings fluttering gently between them. The villagers paused in their dancing to watch, struck by the tender moment. Chief Daniel approached the sisters, eyes full of pride and love. He knelt beside them and placed a hand on each of their heads. "My daughters," he said, voice thick with emotion, "you have honored Liam's memory by finding each other again. May this butterfly's flight remind us always of his spirit among us." Ella looked up. "Father, may we build a shrine for Liam? A place where we remember him with love, not pain." Chief Daniel smiled. "Yes, my child. We shall do that together." He rose and beckoned the villagers. "Come," he called. "We will gather stones and flowers at dawn. Tonight, we celebrate our unity." A great cheer rose once more. The villagers returned to singing and dancing, their laughter bright and free. As the crowd settled into a gentle celebration, Ivy and Ella found a quiet spot beneath a tall baobab tree. They sat side by side, shoulders touching, watching the villagers' joy. Ella wrapped her arm around Ivy's shoulders. "Thank you for forgiving me," she said softly. Ivy leaned against her sister. "Thank you for not giving up on me," she replied. "I was so angry, but I never stopped loving you." They sat in silence, letting words give way to shared peace. Fireflies drifted overhead, tiny sparks of light in the gentle night. After a while, Ella reached into her cloak and pulled out the carved wooden bird she had once given Ivy. The paint was faded, but the shape remained. She handed it to Ivy. "I want you to have this again," Ella said. "A symbol of hope for both of us." Ivy smiled and took the bird, running her fingers over its worn curves. "I love it," she said. "And I love you." Ella kissed her sister's forehead. "I love you too." When the first light of dawn crept over the trees, the clearing was quiet. Torches had burned down to stubs. The villagers lay sleeping on mats, their faces peaceful. Chief Daniel stood by the stone altar, now nothing more than a circle of earth. Ivy and Ella joined him. "They sleep well," Ivy whispered. Chief Daniel nodded. "Their spirits are at rest." Ella looked out over River's Hollow. Birds circled overhead, their songs greeting the new day. Morning dew sparkled on the grass, and wildflowers bloomed along the path. Ella turned to Ivy. "We should plant flowers around the shrine for Liam," she said. Ivy took her sister's hand. "And build benches so people can sit and remember him." Chief Daniel smiled at his daughters. "Let's begin." Together, the three of them walked toward the village, hands entwined. In their hearts, the weight of guilt and pain had been lifted, replaced by hope and unity. Above them, a single blue butterfly drifted into forest, its wings catching the morning light, a silent promise that Liam's spirit would always watch over River's Hollow.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to see more of my content.